In the first episode, we see Adonis waking up and breaking the chains that were holding him in the special cell. All the army men around him are scared. They are so frightened that they can't even think about telling their chief. Adonis steps out of the cell and jumps on one of the soldiers. The soldier tries to attack Adonis, but Adonis kills him using his own weapon. Then, Adonis takes a knife from his pocket and easily kills another soldier. The third soldier is terrified after seeing all this. He tries to pull out his gun to shoot Adonis, but before he can, Adonis moves quickly, grabs the gun, and kills him with it. After this, Adonis looks at Doroka. Doroka stares at him in shock and says, "You!" Adonis walks up to Doroka with a gun in his hand. He points it at her head, and she freezes, thinking he is going to kill her. But instead, Adonis shoots at her handcuffs, breaking them and setting her free. Without saying a word, Adonis turns around and leaves the prison cell. Doroka is left standing there, surprised and unsure of what just happened. Guys, before we move on with the video, I have a small request. Please subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 1 million subscribers, and your support means a lot to us. Meanwhile, all the guards in the prison are ordered to bring the situation under control as soon as possible. The scene then shifts to the National Security Bureau, where its director, Senior Executive Yamato, is talking to someone. Yamato says, "Go there and fix the situation. You're allowed to use any kind of weapon." The person he's talking to is very confident and replies, "Don't worry, Director. I'll use my superior powers to bring everything under control as soon as possible." The Vice Director, however, looks irritated and says, "Fine, just go already." But Yamato stops him and says, "There's no point in being annoyed with him. He's an executive just like you." The person is revealed to be a security agency operator named Executive Ekaud. Ekaud transforms himself completely and heads straight for the prison. Back at the prison, the chief is in a terrible state. He blames himself for everything. He can't believe that a girl used his phone to unlock all the prison gates. On top of that, a long-term prisoner has escaped, and that prisoner is none other than Adonis, the apprentice of the witch. The scene shifts to Adonis, who is sitting on top of a tower. He looks at his magical pen, writes a spell in the air, and says, "Magic Jane." Suddenly, he fires a magical bullet that grows as big as an artillery shell. It flies into the middle of a building and completely destroys it. The focus then returns to the prison, where Ekaud arrives. He swiftly kills all the prisoners trying to escape and reports that Adonis has already left the prison. Before leaving, he finishes one last task, killing the prison chief. Meanwhile, the witch, who had escaped earlier, feels terrible after seeing the destruction. The scene shifts to a market, where Adonis is walking in his old, torn clothes. He talks to himself, saying, "What I'm about to do now? If Chloe knew, she'd be so angry with me." He imagines Chloe scolding him, saying, "I've been gone a long time. There's no point in causing so much destruction for me now. You should just live your life and be happy." But Adonis shakes his head and says, "I don't care how many years pass. I'll never forget that moment. Your eyes, your voice, your words." Closing his eyes, he whispers, "I love you too, Chloe." He then begins casting a powerful magical spell. The ground starts to crack and burst, and a giant monster emerges from beneath the earth. The monster grabs Adonis in one hand and begins destroying buildings effortlessly with the other. This news reaches the police, but they don't believe it at first. Then, they encounter a traumatized man. When they step outside, they see the massive monster with their own eyes. Shocked and horrified, they realize the monster is being controlled by Adonis, who is destroying everything in his path. Meanwhile, all the guards in the prison are ordered to control the situation quickly. The scene shifts to the National Security Bureau, where Director Yamato discusses the chaos with his team. He orders, "Inform the king immediately." But the guards reply, "We can't. The queen says the emperor is very sick." Hearing this, Yamato declares a state of emergency. Activate Defensive Line 4. Bring all surface troops with tanks and deploy air forces with fighter jets. Yamato steps outside and sees the massive giant Adonis is controlling. Shocked, he mutters, This must be magic, and it's the boy who escaped from prison." His colleague, Yuki, agrees but points out, "We need the magic suppressor machine to stop him." The guards inform Yamato, the device is 10 years old and buried in underground storage. We're not sure if it will even work. Meanwhile, Adonis wreaks havoc. Tanks fire at the giant, but the bullets bounce off. The giant punches through buildings, destroying tanks and everything in its path. We learn that during his 10 years in prison, Adonis trained his mind and mastered summoning magic, even though he isn't a witch. Now, driven by revenge, he's killing everyone in the city. Adonis summons a massive magical gun and fires, killing many people. Afterward, he breaks down in tears, saying, "Why is this happening? Why can't I find the happiness I wanted?" The destruction prompts fighter jets to launch missiles at the giant. Adonis leaps down to avoid the explosion, but the attack injures nearby civilians. A child is trapped under rubble, crying for his mother, when Daruka arrives, saves him, and hands him to a woman. Daruka then faces Adonis, who is badly injured. She pleads, "Please stop this. Don't kill innocent people." Adonis glares at her and crushes a soldier in his hand, shouting, "Innocent? All humans are my enemies." Daruka replies, "Chloe wouldn't want this. She wouldn't want you to destroy everything." Enraged, Adonis grabs her collar. "Don't you dare say her name. You don't understand what humans did to us." Daruka calmly responds, "I do understand because I'm a witch too." Adonis is stunned. "You're a witch? Then where were you when Chloe was being killed?" Daruka lowers her head. "We were fleeing the country, but I swear we can bring Chloe back." Adonis freezes. "What did you say?" Daruka explains, "I came here to save you and gather the pieces needed to revive Chloe. I can help you see her again." Adonis summons a sword and points it at Daruka. "If you're lying, I'll kill you and everyone who disrespects Chloe." Daruka stays calm. "If that's what you want, go ahead, but I'm happy to have met you, Adonis." Her words remind Adonis of Chloe's last moments. Overwhelmed, he drops the sword, falls to his knees and cries. "Is it true? Can you really bring her back?" Daruka extends her hand. "Yes, it's true. You're not alone, Adonis." As Adonis reaches for her hand, a sniper's bullet pierces Daruka's chest. Blood pours out as Adonis looks on in horror. The camera pans to the sniper, a woman smirking. What a disappointment. One bullet, one kill. The episode ends here. The episode begins with a flashback to Daruka's past. Humans are seen attacking the witch community. Daruka, desperate and scared, runs through the chaos, witnessing witches being killed before her eyes. Her friend Mia finds her and hugs her. Daruka asks, "Why are they doing this to us? We helped them. Can't we use magic to escape?" Mia explains, "No, they've jammed our magic with a machine. You must run and inform Madame Ophelia. Only she can save us." Daruka hesitates, unwilling to leave her friend, but Mia convinces her. As Daruka escapes, Mia is surrounded by soldiers and killed. Daruka, now severely injured from a sniper's bullet, collapses. Adonis, shocked, pleads with her, "Daruka, don't die. Tell me how to bring Chloe back." Daruka, struggling to speak, says, "All of us witches, all of us." Before she can finish, gunfire erupts. Adonis is knocked back and more bullets hit Daruka. Adonis, devastated by Daruka's death, stands amidst the chaos. Soldiers approach to attack him, but Adonis, filled with rage, uses his magical pen to create a barrier. The soldiers' bullets stop mid-air and reverse, killing them all except one. Adonis approaches the last soldier, but a sniper shoots at him. The bullet explodes on contact, but when the smoke clears, Adonis emerges unharmed. He stops the bullet mid-air, enlarges it and sends it back, killing the sniper. Consumed by anger, Adonis declares his intent to destroy humanity. Meanwhile, Yamato watches the destruction unfold on his screen and says, "Yuki, it's up to you now." Yuki reaches the location of the magic suppressor device, determined to activate it and stop Adonis. But she is confronted by agents from the National Science Bureau, led by Theta. Theta blocks Yuki's path, saying, "I can't let you activate this device." Yuki, confused, asks, "Why not?" Theta calls Yamato and explains, "This device releases science particles, which cause cellular dysfunction disease. This disease affected our soldiers 10 years ago when we first used it against witches. It's also harming nature, and with no witches left to repair the ozone layer, humanity will suffer greatly." Yamato realizes this is the true cause of the Emperor's illness. Shocked, he asks, "Is this why the Emperor is sick?" Theta confirms, "Yes, the Emperor was exposed to this device. Using it again will only worsen the damage to both people and the planet." Despite Theta's warnings, Yuki is determined to save the Australia Empire. Ignoring the risks, she rushes to the device and activates it. Theta tries to stop her, but the machine powers on. The suppressor's effects are immediate. Adonis's magical barrier vanishes, and his pen falls to the ground. Adonis, stunned, realizes his magic is gone. Yamato calls Yuki, asking, "Did you activate the device?" The scene shifts to Yuki, gravely injured, with Theta trying to disable the machine. Bloodied and weak, Yuki struggles to stay conscious as the battle takes a heavy toll. Yamato reassures Yuki, "Don't worry, we must stop him, with or without the device. Remember your duty, protect the Empire at all costs." He then orders, "Deploy everything we have, attack Adonis." As a large force of soldiers advances toward Adonis, a young soldier steps forward, stopping the others. "Hold your fire," she commands. She charges ahead alone, despite the crumbling buildings and chaos around her. The soldiers watch in terror as debris falls and blocks their path. The young soldier, undeterred, confronts Adonis face to face. Armed with a rifle-mounted bayonet, she attacks. Adonis, powerless without his magic, braces for the inevitable. The soldier strikes decisively, severing his head from his body. Emerging from the smoke, she holds Adonis's head aloft. The battlefield erupts in cheers as the soldiers celebrate their victory. Watching from his command center, Yamato sighs in relief and announces, "The witch's apprentice is finally dead. Peace will return to the Empire." He notices the soldier's youth and inquires, "Who is she?" A subordinate explains, "She's a new recruit from the Mecha unit." Yamato nods, then issues another command, "Find Theta and Yuki. We need to know their status." Meanwhile, Theta and Yuki are shown critically injured, being rushed away on stretchers. Their fate hangs in the balance. The episode concludes with a somber revelation. The chaos and destruction were all caused by a single individual, a child imprisoned for 10 years, the last apprentice of the witches. Actually, he was a human child, yet he somehow knew how to use magic. None of this made sense. In fact, Quixote, the emperor, was explaining the situation. His condition was now extremely critical, and he was surviving on extensive medical support. Despite this, he continued to speak, revealing that he had named this child 10 years ago. Although he deeply regretted it for a long time, he claimed to no longer feel remorse. He had already killed him. Quixote further explained how he had killed God, and declared that they were now living in a new world where God was no one else but the Radia Empire itself. This speech was broadcast across the Empire and was being heard by a girl sitting in her classroom. In the same class, another student asked the teacher, "Sir, if he was a human child, then why did he fight on the witch's side?" The teacher speculated, maybe he was brainwashed. After this, the class ended, and the students prepared for their PE session. The girl who had been listening to the broadcast sat on her bench with her head down. Another girl approached her and said, "I saw all of that." Confused and dismissive, the first girl replied, "What nonsense are you talking about?" and walked away. The scene then shifts to a graveyard, where the first girl is seen laying flowers on her boyfriend's grave and asking for his forgiveness. A flashback reveals her boyfriend trapped under a building, begging for help. Despite his pleas, she ran away to save her own life. Looking at Adonis's photo on her phone, she whispered to herself, "But no matter what, this boy who knows how to use magic, he looks so attractive." Suddenly, an unknown man appeared, startling her. The man apologized for scaring her, and the girl quickly realized he was a government officer. Panicking, she tried to delete Adonis's photos from her phone. The officer reassured her, "Don't worry. If you like his photos, you can keep them. Just don't tell anyone else. You could get into trouble." Hearing this, the girl became terrified and ran away. The man, revealed to be Chief Oz, the deputy director of the National Intelligence Agency, called someone and ordered, "A schoolgirl is running from the front. Catch her, arrest her, and hand her over to the National Security Bureau." The narrative shifts to introduce Mrs. Charmy, a chief investigator who was conducting extensive research using a massive computer system. She completed her investigation and reached a conclusion. Aaron was a dummy and not in his original body. The scene then cuts to Aaron opening his eyes. However, his location remains undisclosed. And with that, the episode ends.